So tired of hearing to अच्छा actor है but I can't cast you. You know, just like what? You know, it makes your brain kind of explode.
Salman told you that the movie will not work, and that shook you up. But that is what happened.
I can still recall the drive back and like just crying, like, you know, and driving that car and trying. And it's always a thing like I don't want to feel that ever again. People like me are sitting there being like, अच्छा मार्केटिंग में तो यही यूज़ होगा पोस्टर पे तो इसकी शक्ल आएगी फैन फॉलोइंग इसकी ज़्यादा है जब ये पब्लिक में जाता है तो लोग इसका नाम चलाते हैं मेरा नहीं चलाते यहाँ पर ऐसा लगता है कोई भी स्टार बन सकता है एंड समटाइम्स अनटैलेंटेड एक्टर भी स्टार बन जाता है सो यहाँ पर पीपल टेक अ बिट मोर कि चलो ट्राई करके देखते हैं आई वुडंट नो व्हाट टू गेट आउट ऑफ इट इट्स नॉट लाइक आई कुड कॉल एंड अप्रोच हिम ऑल्सो इन अ वे यू नो सो देयर वाज नेवर एनी रियल unfortunately I don't say it with pride, I say it with sadness that there was never no relationship. तो मैं फ़ोन करके क्या मांगता उनसे our families never got along and then now here I was and so I don't think it could have hurt me because people didn't know, you know. Now I think people know. Now I don't know what how his relationships have changed or you know what position he's in because again हमारी बात नहीं होती है.
A lot of people in your position would have used that tag that I am his cousin or his nephew or you know use these names.
I think people also know that Imran Khan is one of my closest buddies, you know. When we met in 2001 I had no idea he was Amir's nephew. You know, I had no idea for months and then finally one day ऐसी कुछ बात हो रही थी और उसने जिक्र किया और उसने बोला और फिर मैंने बोला अच्छा मेरा भी ऐसा कुछ है. He was a Bollywood hero. I was always kind of a character actor doing things. तो वो वाली कंपटीशन तो कभी आई नहीं और मैं डिनायल में नहीं हूँ कि आई ऑलवेज न्यू दैट ही इज अ मच बिगर स्टार देन मी एंड इज मच बिगर फैन फॉलोइंग देन मी.
Is it true that you know you were not able to bond with her either?
Once she opens up with you, she's really open to share her vulnerabilities.
Wow.
You know, such a huge superstar and such a legend's mother. You know, she comes from such a legend's family.
My guest today is somebody who's not only a brilliant actor but also a very, very humble human being. Each time I watch him on screen, my mind is blown, and well, that's what makes him the next big thing. Welcoming Akshay Oberoi only on a fresh new episode of the next big thing on FPJ Showbiz. Hi Akshay, it's always so good to talk to you.
It's always nice to speak to you, and what a nice introduction. Thank you so much.
I genuinely feel it. I know a small part of the world saw it in you after the recent work that you did, but I remember I watched you initially in your career and I was like, I really like this guy and I think he is gonna make it very big, and I'm so happy to see you now do the work, the kind of work that you know satisfies the artist in you. How does it feel and how's it going?
You know, first of all, like, I'm not just saying it because you're here or the camera's on, whatever. Really, it's really always nice to hear people like you say it because you study the industry on a whole separate level, right? So you actually know कि it's almost like दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी, and you know everything. So it's always nice to get that from someone, you know, in the business like that. How do I see it now? I'm just happy I survived these years and I'm finally in a place like this. But still the ambition and the desire is so unfulfilled, you know, it's endless. And it should be because if that fire in you dies, then I might as well retire.
True.
But yeah, it just feels like I'm starting to scratch the surface of where I want to be. You know, so with each next film that comes, you know, after Fighter, which opened up these doors for commercial cinema, I'm like, अच्छा एक फिल्म मिली धर्मा की, अभी ये एक्शन टॉक्सिक वाली फिल्म मिली, अभी मुझे और चाहिए, you know, so like the hunger is just, and that's the human fitrat, you know, there's nothing I can do about it, but the desire is just growing and growing.
Do you feel Fighter somewhat changed how casting directors or directors look at you, because the talent was always there, you know? People know you only because of the versatile roles you've played, because of the kind of work. I don't think any actor, especially when the actor is new, would have dared to do that, and you are known for that. So it was always there, but sadly, you know what happens in our industry, जब तक आप वो एक बड़ी बैनर की मूवी ना करो और बड़े एक्टर्स के साथ काम ना करो, so people sometimes don't see. So how did things change after that?
Yeah, no, it's very, very correctly said. That is how this world operates. That's how this business operates. Yeah, like it takes a Siddharth Anand to trust you and a big director like that to put you next to Hrithik Roshan and Deepika Padukone for people. It's a perception business.
Yeah.
So when the perception is that, oh, big names like this cast him, like acha hum bhi kar sakte hain. And honestly, what you're saying, I've heard casting directors tell me that now that you are in Fighter, like हमसे हमेशा तुम्हें cast करना चाहते थे, but ये कोई platform ने मना कर दिया, तो कोई producer ने मना कर दिया. But now that you've done this film, it's easier for us to sell you, to these people. And there's no hard feelings about it. That's just I know this is a business. And I know my place in this business. But I'm so glad it happened because I was so tired of hearing to acha actor hai, but I can't cast you. Just like what? It makes your brain kind of explode, and you get very. I mean, frustrated is such an overrated word. Like, I don't mean to say it in that way, but it bothers you. It picks at you.
Of course it does.
And in order to keep yourself feeling good inside, so you look, and you feel fresh, so no one thinks you're a jaded actor.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of mental exercise and mental stretching to kind of, let go of those tags.
I think it's everybody's first time being human beings, so I don't think ki jitne baar bhi people say no, you get used to it. I don't think so.
No, you don't get used to it.
It still hurts you.
It still hurts.
That being said, when you know that some rejections have nothing to do with you, and it takes a large deal of maturity to understand that.
Yes.
I used to take rejections very personally, that this actor is not giving me an interview because I am not good enough. Nothing like that. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
So, but of course, 7-8 years in the industry now, I feel.
Right.
But when I was a 20-year-old kid who just started, I was like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
When you started off and those rejections were coming around, what were you feeling? Did you ever have self-doubts?
It's so funny. So the rejections at an actor's level happen at all the time, right? Rejection is such you have to have a really good relationship with rejection, and I think you nailed it. You can't take it personally, but it takes maturity to understand that. Especially when you see younger actors come and they're zooming past in their career and you're still kind of where you were, it really shakes you up a little bit. But somehow there was never any self-doubt. I mean, you're so right. Our whole value system is based on how people are perceiving me. So now, suddenly you think you're not good enough and you're never going to be there. But somehow I was stupid enough to never have any self-doubt.
Wow.
I say it, it's stupid because I don't know how I was so date and stubborn in thinking, no, I don't deserve it. So, and it's so funny because I did it for 15 years.
Yeah.
And now I get rejected too, but from bigger things and, things that were miracles to land anyway. But I don't know why I never had any moment of like, I'm not good or I'm not, a good actor or people don't think it was also like, मेरा time नहीं आया. अच्छा ये भी नहीं हुआ. अच्छा ठीक है मेरा time नहीं आया. Okay ठीक है कल आएगा. And I would dust myself off and go right back at it. And I think in my career, I've done a lot more work than some of my even peers.
Yeah.
But they just went under the table. It's like, ye bhi kisi ne nahi dekha, wo nahi dekha. Eventually, sometimes a good film like Gurgaon found an audience. But when it released on 80 screens all India. A film like that doesn't stand a chance. So when I look back, I often wonder, how did I survive that? That's when I've started to realize that we think we're in the driver's seat of our own lives, but we're not. That's just an illusion. Yeah. You're not in charge of anything. Koi aur hai, whatever you want to call it, God, fate, whatever name, luck, destiny, whatever name you want to give it, there's something else guiding your ship. So you have to trust that process.
Yeah.
But the reminder to trust the process is such a difficult thing to remember at all times.
Yeah. Especially when you are at a low point, you know this is happening for something better. But at that point, you just want to crib and cry about it.
We want to. And I think you should. I don't think there's any sense in saying, no, I'm too strong for this. You should mourn the thing and enjoy that period of feeling sad. But you can't let it go on forever. You have to wake up Monday morning and get back at it.
Yeah.
Ride that horse again, as they say. I'm glad that I had that voice. Agar wo nahi rehta, I don't know that I would have survived it.
Yeah, because patience is such a big thing to have. Yeah. I feel every actor has had immense patience to be doing what they're doing, because honestly, the biggest of actors, like you said, say that we are rejected on a daily basis even today. So we have to prove our craft ourselves again and again. Yeah. And that is, that kind that could be a thing that, you know, messes up with your head, but then you need to have that self assurance that what I'm doing is happening the right way. But when you started off, and there's this clip that has gone very viral where you're saying that you know, Salman told you that the movie will not work, and that shook you up, but that is what happened. As a young boy, how was that phase like? And at that point did you ever think that maybe, you know, this industry is not for me?
Man, that was a tough period. It was a really tough period. It's like I still think I live in the fear of that moment. That, you know, sometimes जब मैं खाली हूँ और मेरे पास कोई film नहीं है, even if I've done a lot of work, like I just finished 2 films or 3 films, and now I'm like, अच्छा ये window मेरे पास film नहीं है, it goes right back to that feeling of fear, and I have to remind myself that no, that just played such a, so I have PTSD from that time that, you know, I just go right back to that, and I'm like, अब क्या होगा? Will I ever get back on a set again? That old 24-year-old Akshay just comes right back. And then I have to remind myself, it's all good, it's all good. Just this, you're doing, you know, you're on your way, you're building a house brick by brick. So it was so traumatic, you know, 15 years later, I still experience it. I mean, that drive back after the story I shared about Salman sir, the drive back from, where was it, Panvel, after we shot that Das Ka Dam episode, I can still recall the drive back and like just crying, like, you know, and driving that car and trying, and it's always a thing of like, I don't want to feel that ever again. You know, I want to do anything to avoid that miserable feeling. But I don't think I ever had this thing of giving up. You know, I never had that. I think that if there was a plan B, I would have gone and done plan B. Because plan A is too hard. But because, you know, I was telling someone, a friend of mine the other day, that acting to me, if I'm being, and I'm not joking about it, like it's like the need to drink water or the need to eat food is the need to act. And if I have that, that'll make me survive the difficult times, as long as that remains. And all these years that has remained and only grown and multiple fold. So yeah, I never had this thing of like, let me hang up, let me give up, let me, it never occurred to me.
I completely relate to what you just said, and I do know it's not a joke when you say that it's almost like drinking water, because I feel you, because that is what happens to me when I don't have a good conversation for an entire week or 2 weeks. I'm like, what is happening? You know, I'm just sitting at home doing other work, edits and all. I'm like, I'm not happy. I need to go out, have a conversation with somebody.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. And you know, I completely relate to it, because that is what you guys feel when y'all are acting. You know, you all have to be on set and have to feel that high of giving a good performance.
Yeah, it's a high. That's the right word. It's a high. Yeah.
It is. But you know, now, I think now when you say that, abhi bhi mujhe kabhi kabhi aisa dar lagta hai, what if I'm not on a set again? Anybody you speak to who knows your work will always be so sure that that's never going to happen, of course, right? But I do understand that you feel that way sometimes. When we are out of job, we feel ki, what if I don't ever get a job again? That's not going to happen. Of course I will. But that's just the constant fear sometimes we live in, and I feel it's good, because that only makes you a better actor or whatever you do.
It makes you value what you're doing.
Yeah.
It makes you not take anything for granted. And I think that fire it creates a fire in your belly that is very required for difficult professions like these, you know.
Yeah.
And I put media in that too, because media is also a very competitive field. There are so many people interviewing people. Nowadays, har ek ke paas YouTube channel hai. You know, so how do you survive in that thing? The only way to survive is if you have that passion, ki ek hafte se baat nahi hui kisi se, I'm feeling weird. That gets you back out to go and do the next thing.
True, that is true. But you know, of course, after having so many experiences, after doing so many films, so many projects, OTT, do you think your perception towards your profession, acting, has changed? Because I've heard a lot of actors say that now we feel that acting for us is, you know, we can't do without it. Like that, like you just mentioned. Do you feel that it's become a huge part of your life?
Social media?
No, the profession and how it's changed.
I feel like acting to begin with is a lifestyle choice. In the sense of even sitting here, there are people around us with cameras and things. How are they standing? Where somebody has their hand in their pocket, somebody is touching their beard, somebody's on a cell phone. So these things, as an actor, you are constantly consumed by, because your brain actors' brains are like that. We're observing people, all how are they sitting? Are their legs crossed? Are they not crossed? How much are their hands moving? And it's not even, it's subconscious at this point. I've been doing it for so many years. I'm not actively, but my eye is watching everyone, how they're moving, you know, what kind of things are they saying, how, you know, does their eyebrow frown when they do it? I'm so aware of it. And it's also like, you know, our friends go to work on Monday morning, you know, and Tuesday, and then they have and then Friday comes around, and they're like, weekend is here. Our job is not like that. We might be shooting Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, and you know, we have events to go to on Monday and Friday and Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is. It's like a very odd profession, but you have to be constantly plugged into it. So I feel like it is already super consuming. And if it's not, the career won't work. You can't shut the career off.
No, that is agreed to whatever you said. It just becomes a part of your living.
It's part of your living. It's just completely part of your living.
But you know, when I started off my introduction with that, you know, whenever I see you, my mind is blown, because I honestly, genuinely feel that very few actors today we have, that they make you feel emotions so wonderfully. If you're making me feel scared, I will genuinely get scared. If something bad's happening to you, there will be tears in my eyes. And by me, I feel I'm in the audience, you know. And that is what we spoke about after Fighter, that we were all crying so much. And we were feeling it's happening in reality. That's a very rare quality, and not every actor, it comes very easily to you, is what I feel. Now, when that perception is there of you, there could be your co-actors who could be a little insecure. I have heard stories firsthand that, you know, this actor who in the audience perception is like a big actor, like a star or a star kid, getting insecure of an actor who's made his own journey, who's self-made, and who's actually talented. Have you ever faced something like that? And if yes, how did you deal with it?
Not to my face.
Okay.
I've never experienced it to my face, but I've heard of these things happening all the time, and I'm sure it exists because the flip exists too. People like me are sitting there being like, अच्छा marketing में तो यही यूज़ होगा, पोस्टर पे तो इसकी शक्ल आएगी, फैन फॉलोइंग इसकी ज़्यादा है, जब ये पब्लिक में जाता है तो लोग इसका नाम चलाते हैं, मेरा नहीं चलाते. So it works on both ways. Grass is always greener. You know, while what you said to me is the biggest compliment I could ever, you know, have. If you had said to me, you know, your fan following is so large, and it may not have landed the same way. What you said is what I was trying to achieve in my career. Like, people should say this about me, कि जब भी इसको कोई रोल मिलता है, ये हर टाइप का रोल कर सकता है और वो कुछ छू के जाता है, you know, दिल को छू के जाता है. So that is something that I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to get famous, and I wasn't trying to make money, and I wasn't trying to do all these things. And as they say, you are what you think. You know, the Buddha said it 2,500 years ago. You are how you view the world. So that's how I viewed the world, and that's kind of the road I'm on. So I would say it happens on both ends of the spectrum. So if it's happened to me unknowingly, I have a very naive view of the world. So I don't generally see bad in people. तो मुझे कभी चीज़ें दिखती भी नहीं अगर मेरे साथ हुआ है भी तो. I just kind of find a way to, you know, like justify it. But I know that the reverse has happened to me, where I've been like, wow, I've worked so many years to get where I am in this craft, and this guy to came like this, and you know, the studio will want to put him in front, and I won't even get a chance to be there in the marketing of it. So, and that hurts.
You know, it's a sad thing, because it happened to somebody I know, that they lost a film to a star kid.
Yeah.
And now if the star kid is talented, I don't mind at all. You know, that is how nepotism should work.
Exactly.
If my dad owned a big media company and I was talented,
he should give it to you.
I would get all the benefits of it, right?
Completely right.
But if I suck at what I do, then no.
He should have the better sense to not give it to you.
Exactly. This is what I feel about every part of nepotism, not only in showbiz. Now, when he lost that film to whoever he lost it to, the person wasn't at all, he wasn't even accepted by the audience, but he kept still getting chances. Now, when something like this happens, it literally burns me, because this is sad and this is unfair, and I know that we can only talk about it, we can't change it, but when you go through that, and maybe you have gone through it personally, I have just seen it through a friend, how do you tackle it, and how do you manage to not get very bothered by it?
Man, it's really tough because we're all human beings here. And I wholeheartedly agree with everything you said. कि अगर मेरे पास कोई बड़ा धंधा होता तो मैं अपने बेटे को ही देता. But अगर वो undeserving होता तो मेरी अक्ल होनी चाहिए उसको नहीं देने के लिए. But हमारी लाइन में ऐसा नहीं होता, right? Because how can you measure somebody's acting before they've acted? So you have to give them the job and then you say, oh, actually they're not very good, and then you decide कि so यहाँ पर ऐसा लगता है कोई भी स्टार बन सकता है, and sometimes untalented actor भी स्टार बन जाता है. So यहाँ पर people take a bit more कि चलो try करके देखते हैं, and the producer is also more happy to put the star kid because he knows कि 4 टिकटें और बिक सकती हैं, जो कि नहीं होता है, but ऐसा लगता है लोगों को. It's some perception built into our thing. So it's happened to me. Condolences to your friend, whoever it happened to. It's definitely happened to me as well. But you know, I think with everything you can't. There's so many gut punches in this career. You know, film flop होती है, reject होते हो, या कोई star son आपका काम ले लेता है. That you know, you just have to roll with it, यार. You can't sit there and sob about it forever. And the world is unfair. I mean, nobody said the world was fair. The world is unfair. It's an unfair place. These things are bound to happen. But I think जो हमारे शास्त्रों में जो लिखा है ना कि जो तुम्हारे हक में है वही मिलेगा, कोई छीन नहीं सकता, एंड फल के बारे में सोचो नहीं, अपना काम करते रहो. These are very ज्ञानी लोगों ने ये चीज़ें क्यों बोली थी? क्योंकि it helps you kind of keep your mental sanity. And in this line, mental sanity is everything. You know, it's everything. So it's tough, and I feel really bad for anyone who's faced this kind of unfair kind of stuff. I sure as hell have, but you can't cry over it.
You have a very positive approach, and I really like that about you.
The only way to survive, man, is a survival instinct. And इंसान की फितरत है survive करना. तो मैं survive कर रहा हूँ, and this is my survival metric. It helps me survive.
You know, we call it the Bollywood camp, and a lot of people have spoken about it. Some people don't want to be a part of it खुद से कि मुझे नहीं part होना है. It's okay. It's all the insiders and people who are outsiders and have been a part of it. And it's very funny in your situation because half the people call you an insider because of your surname, which I know has nothing to do with
Thank you.
even an advertisement that you might have done.
Thank you.
But you are not. You are self-made, right? Like you did whatever you did on your own.
Right.
How do you see these camps? Because I also know you are not interested to be at these big Bollywood parties and socialize with people. That's not to do with anything with your work. So what is your relationship like with the industry?
Oh, that's a really well put question, and I think you've understood me very well. You're right that I do have a tendency to just do my work and go home. But I've realized as I'm growing in the industry that part of me wants to be part of this cool club. You know, again, I'm a human being, and I can't, you know, I can't be bigger than the cool club. The cool club is an elite group of people in our industry who run the business. And if my ambition and desire is to get to a certain place in my career, then you have to be accepted by a certain segment of the business. But for me, मैं ऐसा आदमी नहीं हूँ कि मैं जाके किसी के उसमें घुस जाऊँ. You know, for me, relationships are very organic and they're very deep and they're very lasting. So I can never do that. You know, I'm not one of those people who can just show up at a party and like woo everyone in the room. I'll be the guy who finds one person in the room and talks to that person all night, makes a relationship. So you have to be who you are. So yes, I would like to be in that community of people because I know the access it gives me. And as we said a few minutes ago, it's a perception business. True. So when you see me at those parties and you see me with those people, suddenly you perceive me a certain way and you say, he belongs to this. And that's good for business, and that's good for the work. But you have to be who you are, and I'm not that guy who can just go and flirt with this thing and come back and then, you know, do my thing. Like I have to either be fully invested in that or not. So I'm also finding my feet, and as I grow, I'm also trying to understand who am I, and what is the thing that I think I tell myself, and what is the thing that I actually want. Okay. And I think somewhere what I'm learning, and I'll share it with you because you asked such a personal question, is sometimes I have a tendency, which maybe all human beings have, is to say you don't want something because you don't have it. You know, कि मुझे वो नहीं चाहिए, because it's not, you don't have it. So you're like, I don't even want it, you know. So you try and rise above it and be cooler than it. But deep down somewhere you do want it, you just don't admit it.
That is true.
And I think I might be in this phase with this cool club of Bollywood, where I'm like, I really want to be in it and, you know, have access to it, but I'm not in it. So I'll push it at a distance, you know.
Wow. Do you think that actually works in getting work?
Man, I don't know. I've seen it work. So part of me thinks yes.
Okay.
Because जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. So if someone sees you around, they've met you at a party, there's a familiarity and they know you through somebody, they can also call that person and say कि वो कैसा है. I think it does work. It's like being in Fighter, right? That's a great example of it. When you're around and surrounded by the best in the business in terms of commercial viability, you're taken more seriously. Or people see dollar signs when they see you. You know, ki abhi, now you're with those people means you're also blessed with the hand of money, you know. And money is what makes the world go round. So it definitely has something. But again, I'm a living example of someone who was never in that. I've been in the fringes of Bollywood for so many years. But consistent work is probably more important than any of this.
You know, a lot of conversations have happened around you being like, there have been debates if you are considered somebody who comes from nepotism or not. Now we know the reality, it's not like that. You've not had any you know, connection or any help of any sorts. I personally feel, and you know, I did an interview 2 years back with Vivek Oberoi, and he told me that people were scared to give him work. There was a phase in his life where people just didn't want to associate themselves with him or his family. Do you think you ever lost work because of this notion?
Oof. I don't think so. Again, you never know what's actually happening in these Bollywood rooms when people are discussing casting. मेरे सामने तो ऐसा कभी कुछ हुआ नहीं है कि किसी ने ऐसा कुछ बोला है. And I think I'm saying it with a certain level of confidence because nobody knew that we were related.
Not even the casting people?
No. No, nobody knew.
And you never used that to your benefit?
I never said it. Because what would I get? I wouldn't know what to get out of it. It's not like I could call and approach him also in a way, you know. So there was never any real, unfortunately, I don't say it with pride, I say it with sadness that there was never no relationship. तो मैं phone करके क्या मांगता उनसे? And so I just went about my own way, you know, and I was very sure about that no one is going to help. I don't have any mentor or godfather or guidance in this line. Now that I'm starting to reach somewhere, people are getting interested and people are connecting dots, you know. So अब जाकर के लोगों को पता चल रहा है, अब जाके journalists पूछ रहे हैं, मीडिया के लोग पूछ रहे हैं, even directors now who have worked with me in the past, they say तूने कभी बताया नहीं? But I'm like क्या बताता? कुछ बताने को तो होना चाहिए ना कि what to share something something has to exist. Yeah, so I think I just, destiny is a funny thing, man. Like our families never got along and then now here I was, and so I don't think it could have hurt me because people didn't know, you know. Now I think people know. Now I don't know what how his relationships have changed, or you know what position he's in, because again हमारी बात नहीं होती है. But now I don't think I could lose any work for any other reason because I'm on my own now, you know. So, yeah. It would have been great, yeah. It would have been nice. It would have been. I mean, I think we're just unlucky as a family in that way that that bond never existed, and because him and his father both are very good actors, and it's. I mean, I'm honored to be in from that lineage of people, but it would have been fun to do it together, you know.
I know a lot of people in your position would have used that tag that I am his cousin or his nephew, or use these names, and nobody really goes and checks what kind of relation you share, as long as it's the truth, right?
Yes.
And it is the truth.
Yes.
At such a young age, did you ever not feel like doing that?
Not once did it cross my mind that I should do that.
Wow.
And I think it's just the kind of people I grew up around and the kind of person I am. Like, I think people also know that Imran Khan is one of my closest buddies, you know. When we met in 2001, which is, oh my God, 24 years ago, we met at Kishore Namit Kapoor Acting Lab. We became best friends in the matter of minutes. Like, I met him, he met me, and it was like, here we are 24 years later. He also, I had no idea he was Amir's nephew. You know, I had no idea for months. And then finally one day ऐसी कुछ बात हो रही थी और उसने जिक्र किया और उसने बोला और फिर मैंने बोला अच्छा मेरा भी ऐसा कुछ है. Of course, he's much closer to Amir and his family than I am. He was, after which he was launched by Amir. But I grew up around people like these are my friends. So I always thought this is the way. You don't go in, tom about yourself and say मैं ये हूँ, मैं वो हूँ. So just the kind of person I am, it's the kind of person I surround myself, with people around me are like this. So I never thought about it twice, you know.
Wow. You mentioned Imran, and it's such a good feeling always to see two people who are from the same profession being friends, because I have heard this all my life that two Bollywood heroes can't be friends or two Bollywood heroines will always have catfights, and I have seen so many actresses being so lovely friends with each other. How has that bond evolved? Because he was away from movies, but you were never.
Never. Yeah.
What were the conversations like, and how much did you guys back each other up at any phase of life?
Oh, forever and ever and ever. I mean, we'll keep backing each other up forever. As long as whatever decisions he chooses, whatever I choose, I know he'll be there for me and I'll be there for him, vice versa, throughout time. But, it's interesting what you're saying. I think he was a Bollywood hero. I was always kind of a character actor doing things. तो वो वाली competition तो कभी आई नहीं. और मैं denial में नहीं हूँ कि I always knew that he's a much bigger star than me and has much bigger fan following than me. Gets paid the big bucks. I never got those kind of endorsements and money per film and all those things. So it never felt like we were competing with each other. Maybe that's a good thing also. When he left the business is really when my work started taking off. And I think he was just proud of me. I think he was like, from where you came and to reach here and to consistently go out there, and he knows what it takes, to come out of nowhere and do something. I think he has a lot of respect for where at least I feel that from him, that he has a lot of respect for where I've arrived. And even more so sometimes than his own, where he's arrived, what he achieved. Because he sees it as like, here's an actor who woke up every day, got out the door, put on makeup and said dialogue. And did it consistently without any entitlement or any kind of like, nahi, it's a chota role hai, ya bada role hai, wo karta raha. So I think he just has tremendous respect for that. And I'm just so happy that he's back on his feet and acting again.
Yeah, we're so excited.
I think a lot of people are very excited, and so am I.
The fact that you just mentioned that you never used anybody's name to get bigger or better work says so much about you as an actor, because I feel somebody who's truly confident from within will only have the courage to do that. And maybe you didn't think about it, but subconsciously maybe that was in your mind when you were not using those names.
Sounds right. It sounds right. I mean, it sounds like a weird thing to say about yourself, but I think you're right.
That's why I'm saying it. I know you'll never say it.
Yeah, no, it's a weird thing to say about yourself, but I think you're right.
Yeah. But now of course, Akshay, if I talk about your upcoming work, there's so much excitement, and there's also this kind of intrigue, because we genuinely, whoever's a cinema lover, want to see what character you're playing, because your characters are like out of this world. Whatever you pick, I sometimes think wow, he always gets the nicest and the most juiciest and greyest or whatever it is, those kind of characters. Now of course there's Toxic, there's Sahni Sanskari, Tulsi Kumari, that film. There's one more film that you can't talk much about, but tell me all about it, because I feel it's an exciting lineup, and back to back it will release.
Well, starting with Sahni Sanskari, just nice to be in the Dharma family. I think every actor dreams of it, and it's like part of our thing, like Dharma ke saath ek bari to kaam karna hai. So the character in that is so different than what you would expect in a Dharma film. Like thoda hatke character hai. And I think Shashank and I really collaborated well on figuring out who it was. I think Shashank had written something, and then we sort of found a groove for this character. I keep saying he's kind of like the audience's lens in a way. That's how I viewed it. Now let's see how the audience kind of perceives it. But it's like the audience's lens in this movie of like, the audience will connect in the sense of he's perceiving something, and the audience will be like, "Ha, sahi to bol raha hai." So I kind of see this character that way. Let's see how it lands on people. Toxic was just like, what an experience to be on that movie, man. And like Geetu Mohandas, what a director. I mean, she did Liar's Dice and Muthoon, both films I've seen, both films I've loved. I always wanted to work with her. Somehow this film landed in my lap, and I had the best of times doing it. And of course, rocking star Yash, man. I mean, what a legend. Abhi, you were talking about self-confidence. There is nobody bigger than him in that way. Like, he's a one-man industry, if you ask me. Actors are insecure, so we're always like, कौन सा डायरेक्टर को चेस करूं और कौन सा प्रोड्यूसर को चेंज करूं और कौन सा क्या करूं अभी. uska kuch aisa nahi. He's a one-man show. He doesn't need anyone. He will forge forward. You either join him or don't. So it's not only that I enjoyed the work, but I enjoyed meeting this superstar. And the film that I can't talk much about, I think, is just one of the films that I've really enjoyed most in my career. And one of the characters also that I think are just like, you know, really grey and out there. So I think what the joy of my career has been this, like sometimes when the limelight is on you, there is a certain image. So people really like you in romance, so people really like you in action. But when the limelight isn't on you, you can experiment. And for some reason, you know, while lots of things didn't happen that I wanted, the thing that did happen is directors said, "Ki let's throw this at him and see how he does it." You know, they never pigeonholed me. Or even Siddharth Anand, yaar, he gave me Flesh, which was, I played a transvestite flesh trade owner, really khoonkhar, bloodthirsty guy. Then he gave me Bash and Fighter, which is like this sweet, innocent Deshbhakt. So even him, who's like the biggest commercial blockbuster filmmaker, gave me different types of versatile roles to play. So that's been the real joy of my career. And I'm really happy that as I'm transitioning into this more mainstream cinema, that's not stopped. It still is this variety and colorful kind of parts.
Yeah. You know, you worked with Janhvi, and I have to ask this question to you because there are just so many debates that started last year after she worked with Gulshan Devaiah in a film. And, you know, he went and said that we didn't vibe much on a set. Now, I just need to put another statement here where I shot with Janhvi for something when she was doing Good Luck Jerry, her movie. And we did a conversation. And we didn't vibe either. Like how you and I, before the cameras rolled, we were talking and all of that. Whatever, we were both on our phones. Now that could be for several reasons, right? Maybe she was going through something. Maybe I was giving a cold vibe. You never know. But I feel that it would be wrong to go out and say that it was because of her or because she's not a nice person. Now after that happened, he gave a very casual statement. A lot of people, a lot of co-stars came out in support of Janhvi and said that she's this, that. What was your vibe like on set, and how did you guys bond? And is it true that, you know, you were not able to bond with her either?
No, it wasn't. That's not true at all.
Okay.
We didn't, the first couple of days of set, I think she knew everybody else more than me.
Okay.
Varun, I think she's
worked with him.
She's worked with him. I think they probably grew up in similar film circles together. Rohit and her knew each other. Sahni and her knew each other. Manish, Paul and her. I mean, so I think I was kind of the last in terms of getting to know her and her getting to know me. So I remember the first couple of days we didn't speak much, but the fourth or fifth day we started talking, and she opened up and I opened up. And, you know, I was like, I really had this thought, like, don't ever judge anyone. Yeah, you don't, you know, first as an actor you should not be judging anyone. But she, like, I'm saying this to say the next thing, that she's such an intelligent person. She's so well read. She can talk to you about Nietzsche. She can talk to you about Immanuel Kant. She's read all these people. She knows all this stuff, and she's very open to. Once she opens up with you, she's really open to share her vulnerabilities. You know, such a huge superstar and such a legend's mother, you know, she comes from such a legend's family, a legendary family, I should say. But she's so open and she's so self-deprecating, and she's all these things that you wouldn't imagine. So I wouldn't say that at all. I actually I loved working with her. And I bumped into her at an event recently, and it was just like, we were just so happy to see each other, you know. What she's gone through in her life, I will never ever know. What I've gone through, she'll never also know. But you know, both sides are hard. I cannot say that coming from being Sridevi's daughter is not easy.
It's not.
You know, I don't care what anyone says. It is not easy. And then coming the way I've come is also not easy. But I think when we met each other, we both had that mutual thing for each other. You know, it's like you're not. I get that yours is tough, and she got that mine is tough. You know, and I got that from her. It's not like she thought she was above me in any way. You know, wonderful. I really enjoyed the experience, and I'm sorry to anyone who, you know. But I think you're right. You don't know what that what happened that day.
It could be me. Maybe
I
the vibe
gave she's like, maybe she's like she's not talking. So
true. Yeah.
And we're all so guarded. Human beings are so guarded. We carry so much baggage that sometimes it's none of that going on. Just basically you're feeling scared.
I feel sometimes we fear being nice. Like this is my most favorite quote, that the world is filled with nice people. If you can't find one, be one. And sometimes we're all thinking that why should I be the nice person or the bigger person, and nobody ends up being, and that's how sometimes we live in a trashy space, which shouldn't be the thing.
Yeah. That's a really nice thing
yeah.
to take away from this conversation. Let's not be that.
Yeah.
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 Hard, but let's not be that.
But lastly, before I end this conversation, I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong or you don't feel that way, but I feel the lows in your life, and I don't only mean professionally, I mean personally, professionally, everything. It is what makes you a better human being.
Yeah.
And failures teach you much more than what success can never. And I have huge respect for people who have been through every shit possible and still survived and are still willing to wake up every day and wanting to do better work. And you are one of those people. How do you see this journey as, and also do you feel universe has always better things planned for you no matter what?
Yeah, you're right. My career has been a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And the lows have been really, they've been low and they've been, they hurt. My wife said this to me yesterday. It's so funny that you're also asking this. We were talking, sitting right here on this sofa, we were talking yesterday, and she said something that, she said your journey, while it's been such this thing, it's made you who you are, and I like this version of you. If it had gone any other way, you wouldn't be who you are today. You'd be a different person, and you're a human being. So as you said that, when everything is just going perfect for you, there's no other way but to think, "Arey, main to, insaan se pare hu." I'm, it just happens, yaar. It's happened to the smartest and the best of people out there. So in a way, maybe I'm blessed that never happened. Maybe it made me value people more. Now, when someone comes to me to ask for a picture, I'm so grateful, and I talk to that person, and no matter if there's 10 people also asking, I will be patient and I will make sure they got the right photo, and I want to leave them feeling like he gave us importance, and because I feel that you gave me something by coming up to me, and I want to pay you that respect back. I would not be this person if my first couple of films worked. I'd be like, and I see many actors do it.
True.
I've been at dinner tables with actors who they'll say, "Abhi nahi." And this person is a small child, they are asking for a picture, and I feel like, "Arey, mere se pooch le, main de deta hu." You know what I mean? Like, I think it's taught me a lot. It's made me much more philosophical. It's grounded me. I'm a better husband to my wife. I'm a better child to my parents. I'm a better father to my son as a result of all this. And I also think that the process of trying to get somewhere is better than finally getting it. That the joy of that journey is always more, once you get, it's like waiting for an Amazon parcel. The waiting for that parcel is more fun than once you get the parcel. So I think the career is also sort of like
wow, well said. And I'll take that away, that the waiting period or the journey is actually better than when you finally accomplish something, and that is so true actually. Now that I think of it, but Akshay, you have been the next big thing or the big thing for me always, and you know that.
Sweet.
And I love what you do and your work. But if I ask you who's the next big thing for you, or any actor that you see, you feel is very talented and could, make it huge, who would it be and why?
I think there's a lot of people out there that I've worked with that I'm like, man, isko agar acha break mil jaye na. I think Vishal Jethwa is one of them. I think he's on his way now. But I remember seeing him in, was it Mardani? Was that his first
Mardani
film?
2, yeah.
Yeah, Mardani 2. I remember being like, wow, what an actor. And we recently were going to do a project together where wo hua nahi, wo project didn't work out for whatever reason, but we were doing readings, and I was looking at him thinking, yaar, isko milega. Aaj nahi to kal milega. And there's several people like that. Unfortunately, you don't know those names, so there's no point in sharing. But I've worked with a few actors that have just been like mesmerized, that. And these are people who just came on to do one scene, but they came with that conviction. And so I think thank God for the OTT and digital space, because a lot of people got. I think I survived because of it. But the audiences need to get these people. The audience deserves it. We have such a loyal audience base, but we keep giving them rubbish and garbage back to back. We're so unfair to such an intelligent audience. It's time we take our audiences more seriously and bring these people to the fore.
Wow. But thank you so much, Akshay, for joining in. It is always a wonderful conversation whenever it's with you. And I absolutely can't wait to watch you on screen again, and on OTT, whatever you do, because your characters always impress me. So I know it's going to be amazing. But thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you for such interesting questions and really making my mind work. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Akshay Oberoi, and you're watching me on FPJ Showbiz.